as they say in Shakespeare's Hamlet. But we've got a different work of art here. It is beekeeping and literature, because we're here with Albert Chubak. He has written a brand new book called Do You Speak Bee? Did I get the title right?
Right.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I do, but it sounds like you really have that language mastered. So you're passionate about bees, but why write this book?
You know, most people, when they go into a hive or think of a hive, the first thing that comes to mind is honey. Everybody just thinks honey.
I do.
It's liquid gold, but there's so much going on inside a hive that's beyond honey that I wanted to teach people what that was, so that when they walk up to a hive, there's other things to look for, other things to learn, exciting things happening, but unless you're taught what they are, you overlook it. Each frame tells you a story, and some people look at it and they just read the part of the story that's the punchline, honey. But in this case, I'm looking to read what's happening. What are they doing? Why they're doing it? Are there eggs? Is there larvae? Is there protein? And so each frame is a storybook. And I open the hive and look at the storybook.
This book is aimed at young adults?
It was originally aimed at a beekeeping book for kids, but it slowly evolved into a biology book for kids and adults. And that's kind of how it turned out. It's for all ages. The youngest I think I've heard is about 6, and the oldest, however old we get.
Let's talk about the setup you've got here, because it's really quite impressive. And I'm wondering mostly about the small hives. Are those hives?
Mm-hmm, they are.
Okay.
They're called queen nukes.
Okay.
That's where you start new colonies, just like you would taking a seed and planting it in the ground and letting it sprout all by its own. That's what the tiny little hives are.
Okay. So the tiny little hives, and these are the kind of things that people you'll show them how to create their own little hive?
I do. I start people off with a couple frames, maybe as many as 5 that are about this big. They start off with young eggs and larvae, and they're taught that in 3 to 5 days there's going to be a queen cell. It's the only cell that points down, and once they see it, they take a photo of it, they send it to me, and I tell them what their next job is.
We're always told about the importance of bees, so how do you reinforce that message with people?
Well, most vegetables and fruits that we consume require some kind of pollination. Pollination comes, according to my book, in a lot of different ways. Honeybees is one of them. A lot of times in the early spring, our honeybees aren't active, and so we need native pollinators such as bumblebees or mason bees, blue orchard bees. And so having the dynamic of all the different things going on makes it so that we have vegetables and fruits, and the more you have, the more fruit and stuff you get.
All right, and you can have your own little bee colony and keep your backyard and area wonderfully pollinated. Thank you so much. And just before we go, ever had one of those bee beards?
I've always wanted one. I know how to do it. There's a trick, and there's always a risk. One day I'll do it. Yes, I want one.
One day, and one day we'll come back when you do it, okay?
Some people want to skydive. I want a bee beard.
Thanks, Albert.
You're welcome.